Well, it's been a while since I've decided to upload something, but got inspired by a YouTube channel called Films at Home. He got inspired to do this type of video from a different channel. Your favorite film from every year that you've been alive. So, the idea is, starting from the year you were born to now, pick your favorite movie from each year, talk about it, share what you love about it. I thought it was a pretty cool idea. I got inspired, figured, why not? So here I am. My video is not going to be nearly as professional as his because he edits and stuff. I don't. You know, if you look at my channel, this is more of a live blog, vlog, whatever type of deal. I mean, the reviews I did years ago were called Zero Effort because I put zero effort into making them. No clips, nothing like that. But the good part is I can't get claimed because I don't use audio or video from other stuff. So it's impossible for me to get claimed on. That's part of the reason why I don't do that. So, anyways, I just finished compiling my list. Some of these years were rough. I'm looking at you 2011. I was not expecting 2011 to have such heavy hitters that make me go, damn, which one is my favorite? I'd probably say my biggest criteria above all else. How many times have I revisited the film? There's a few exceptions. There's a few films that maybe I haven't revisited much, but they impacted me, like, really hard. And I'll note those when I get to them, but most of these films, the determining factor was how often have I revisited them over the years. The ones, the years where I had really close ones, again, like 2011, I went, that's the movie I've gone back to the most, so that's the one I picked. So, anyways, we're gonna get started. I was born in 1986, so this was actually really easy because this is one of my favorite movies of all time. Aliens. Masterpiece movie. One of the best films ever made. Probably I'd argue it's the best sequel ever made. It's the only thing that I would argue against it has nothing to do with the quality of the film as much as it does the fact that you could make the argument that it derailed the franchise and made the rest of the movies that came after worse because everyone tried to copy it, or they tried to make Alien again, and you can't go back and make the first movie when you've raised the ante by doing Aliens. So, and you can't outdo someone like James Cameron when it comes to making action flicks. He's a master. Has been pretty much from day one. So you're kind of up shit's creek without a paddle on that one. But unless Aliens, I'll say this right now, I always watch the special edition. I think it adds a lot, and I mean a lot, to the film. If you prefer the theatrical cut, that's fine. I'm not saying you're wrong. That's a preference. But I prefer the special edition. It literally adds more to the movie just in terms of runtime, but in terms of story, character development, I feel it's incomplete without it, honestly. But yeah, fantastic flick, one of the best ever made. If you haven't seen it somehow, and you've come across my channel somehow, go see it. It's just brilliant. So, moving on to 1987, RoboCop. RoboCop's amazing. RoboCop's a goddamn amazing movie. It's darkly hilarious, biting satire. Blast Off, probably should have looked it up, but uh, Kurt, whatever his name, Red Foreman from the '70s show. He's fantastic in it. Peter Weller is great as Officer Murphy. But yeah, the biting satire. It's got great action. The makeup effects are really great. Just it's a really killer movie. you know, um, Arrow Video recently put out a Blu-ray and then a 4K for it. I haven't seen the 4K, but if the Blu-ray is an indication, best version of the movie that's out there to get. So by all means, pick up their version because it's fantastic. Moving on to 1988, gotta go with another landmark film here, Roger Rabbit. I'm an animation nut, so you're gonna see a lot of cartoons in animation on this list. Roger Rabbit, again, it's a landmark movie. There's never gonna be another movie like it. Other films have tried. Last year's Chip and Dale movie came pretty close, but not quite, but close. Looney Tunes Back in Action, I'd say, is also pretty close. Like Space Jam, both of them, no. But Roger Rabbit, his thing, the secret sauce with Roger Rabbit is the effects are not the main star. The story is. The story is rock solid. The effects just heighten it because it's like, well, I've never seen this type of movie before. And of course, Bob Hoskins is fantastic. Charlie Fleischer as Roger is great. Richard Williams' animation is above and beyond reproach. It's one of Alan Silvestri's better scores. It's one of Zemeckis' better movies. Man, what happened to that guy, right? But that's a different topic for a different video. If I decide to get back into making this stuff. Anyways. But yeah, no, Roger Rabbit. Fantastic flick. You haven't seen it? Again, go. Fix that. You're in for a treat. 1989. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Personally, my favorite Indiana Jones movie. Hot take. Crystal Skull isn't the worst one. That honor goes to Temple of Doom. For me, it's Crusade, Raiders, Crystal Skull, Temple of Doom. And I'm sure when the new one comes out this year, I'm sure it'll probably be at least better than Temple of Doom. Hopefully. But anyways, Last Crusade, we're kicking more Nazi butt. We're looking for another Christian holy relic. Well, yeah, like a more religious holy relic as opposed to more Eastern mythology. And you got Sean Connery as Indy's dad. It's a great adventure. There's great character development for Indy. You get more insight onto who he is and what made him. You have oh damn, I forget the actor's name. River. You got young River Phoenix as young Indiana Jones before his untimely passing. Rest in peace. It's a great movie. Just fantastic stuff. Alright. On the 1990, this was actually really easy because I kind of knew what movie I was going to go pick right off the bat, but I double checked just to be sure, and sure enough, I stuck with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What can I say? I grew up in that time period. Turtle fever was pot, and the movie holds up. The puppetry is amazing. The martial arts and fight scenes and choreography are good by any standard, but the fact that you had guys in these giant turtle suits doing all this stuff on top of, and it still looks really good. Come on, man. It's, the humor's good, the story's really tight, the character arcs are great. Shredder's entrance is one of the most badass things ever put to celluloid. Just the music, the way he comes in. I mean, it I would venture this, in my opinion, it's up there with Darth Vader's entrance in A New Hope. Like, as soon as he comes in, it's like, you know immediately, this is the bad guy, and he's trouble. With a capital T. And, you know, the fight scene between him and the turtles on the rooftop is great. It's got a really good soundtrack, just, it's good stuff. And of course, the puppetry's by, the Jim Henson Company, so it's all top notch stuff. Just fantastic. Moving on to 1991, Beauty and the Beast. I love Beauty and the Beast. It's, as the movie says, a tale as old as time. But it's got great animation. Belle's a fantastic main character. The side characters are all charming and not too annoying. None of them are really annoying. I mean, you can make an argument for Chip or Cogsworth, but Chip's cute and Cogsworth's funny, so, And honestly, like, his stuffiness might annoy you when you were young, but when you watch it as an adult, it's like, okay, no, I kind of get why he's that way. So, but some of the best music Disney's ever made at the time and since. There's not really any track in the movie that misses. Everyone, I mean, even though Gaston, the character, is, a garbage person because he is, he's got a really great song. So, yeah. Beauty and the Beast, my favorite movie from 91. Moving on to 92, Disney Strikes Again, Aladdin. This was probably a lot of people. I'm pretty sure it was mine as well. Our introduction to Robin Williams when we were young. And, there's all the back story behind that about how, Disney stuck him in the back and over promoted his presence in it. But, I mean, kind of have to side with Disney on this one a little because they weren't wrong for wanting to do that a bit because he's the main attraction. He's kind of what helps make the whole movie click. I mean, the movie's good all overall, but yeah, he's the centerpiece. He makes it click. This is what happens when you give someone that belongs in Looney Tunes and you give it a Disney budget. Eric Goldberg's animation on Genie is top notch. The music's all great. Kind of sucks that Jafar doesn't get his own song because villain songs in Disney films pretty much rule in general. But hey, can't be perfect. Just great movie, fantastic. I love it. 1993, Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. I have the dubious honor of being one of the few, maybe thousands, hundreds of people, who knows, on the planet that actually saw this movie while it was in theaters. I actually convinced my mom to take me to go see it that Christmas. We went there, I'm not even kidding you, including me and my mom, there was maybe 3 people, 4 tops, in that entire theater. It was kind of sad. But it's the best Batman movie, as far as I'm concerned. You got the best Batman, you got the best Joker. It's actually about Batman, as opposed to, detailing the origin of his villain, and then Batman fights him. It goes through Batman's origin again, but it's a fairly fresh take and it doesn't delve too much of it into it. And it did the whole Batman Begins thing before Batman Begins did by about 12 years. So just fantastic flick and all killer no filler, man. It feels like it's a longer movie, but it's barely over an hour long. It just boom, it moves. Fantastic flick. Can't recommend it enough. All right, this is a big year, 1994. Lots of heavy hitters in this year. You got Pulp Fiction, you got Forrest Gump, you got Shawshank Redemption, you got The Lion King. But gotta go with the movie I've watched more than all of them over the years, and it's a heavy hitter. Obviously, it's Jurassic Park. Cutting edge computer animation, great story, great actors. You know, once the setup's done, it's a thrill a minute. The raptors are terrifying. Like they were never scary in any of the movie as they are in this one. It's a lot of it's the way that they're designed, and also because a lot of it's practical, so they're on set. You know, but the designs of the raptors are just the stuff of nightmares. Just creepy. But I mean, it's a fantastic throwaway of a flick. You know, Spielberg at the height of his powers. You know, and I'm his thing. I like Spielberg's other stuff. You know, his more dramatic films, but the dude is at his best for me when he's making blockbuster stuff like this. You know, but that's just me. All right, this is where it's gonna get a little weird because a lot of people are gonna, if they watch this, they're gonna like, really, of all the movies in 1995, you picked that. Casper. Yeah, Casper the Friendly Ghost. Of all the films that came out in 1995, I've rewatched this movie even more than Toy Story. I'm pretty sure. But you know what? The effects hold up. The comedy's still good. You know, the characters are still endearing and charming. You know, and I'm gonna say this right now. I'm a stickler for scores. You know, when a score is good, I I I tend to enjoy the movie a lot more. Casper is one of those movies that has a score that is better than it has any God-given right to be. Specifically, Casper's theme, the little piano theme. If you've seen the movie, you know exactly what song I'm talking about. It's like that sounds like something that should be in like an Oscar-worthy drama. Why is it in this movie? I'm glad it's here, but what? But nonetheless, great movie. You know, for what it is. You know, it's not, you know, gonna be one of the all-time greats, but it's my favorite from '95. Just it's a it's a fun, great little movie. 1996, Hunchback of Notre Dame. One of Disney's, I'd argue it might be Disney's best movie they've ever made. If only just because, how I put this. One of Walt Disney's missions when he started the company was to show what animation could do, to push the envelope. You know, now granted, maybe he stuck to, you know, formula a little too much, you know, but part of the point was to show that animation could contend with everything else that was out there. To me, up until recently, with some other films that have come out, like Encanto or Turning Red, maybe even. I know that's a Pixar movie, but still. But as far as Western animation goes, you know, because anime's been doing it for years, but Hunchback of Notre Dame is one of the only major Hollywood animated movies that got pretty damn dark. You know, and it's like, I mean, it's not as dark as the original book, obviously, you know, but for Disney to do it and not really make it super sappy, it's still pretty heavy, you know. And you know, everyone's bitched about the gargoyles. You know, I don't mind them that much, but yeah, the movie would feel a lot better if they weren't in it as much. Quasi needs somebody to talk to in the bell tower, but so it's fine that they're there, I guess, because again, it needs somebody. But like, as many people said, allude to that to them being, in imaginary friends or something. Don't make Notre Dame magic, you know. But other than that quibble, the score and the music, and it's like, well, what's the difference? The score is the your orchestral stuff, the songs. I guess not the music, the songs. The score and the songs are A+ all around, just fantastic. You know, the cast is great. Tony J is destroying it as Frollo. One of the best villains in cinema. He is so goddamn evil. Esmeralda is a great, female lead. You know, I mean, again, just fantastic work, all all over. Maybe the Court of Miracle song is not so great, but eh, all the other stuff's so good that you can let one song being kind of okay to not so good slide. So meh. But yeah, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Dame, damn, whatever. Point is, great movie, fantastic, my favorite from '96. 1997, Men in Black. It came out of nowhere, honestly. For a lot of people, it's like, here's this movie that's based off this really not so well known comic book, and be it somehow got Will Smith, who was just coming off of Independence Day, but they didn't know that when they were making the movie. But so he's more just coming off of Fresh Prince, and Independence Day blew up, and then the next year, boom, another big summer action flick with Will Smith, and now Tommy Lee Jones, who just the driest of wit. Fantastic flick. Again, I'm gonna say that about almost everything. It's fantastic, or it's great, or whatever, because they're my favorite movies. But yeah, the effects for the time, they're pretty good. I mean, the CGI holds up pretty solid for 1997. But it's like got great practical effects. The humor's great. It has one of my favorite quotes in any film ever. You know, a person is smart. People are people are dumb, stupid. I'm messing it up, but yeah, that whole quote. The people are smart quote. You know, fantastic quote. Sally gets truer as time goes on. So, but yeah, just great film. Lots of really dark, sardonic humor. So, moving on to 98. This is going to surprise a few people. Well, people that know me, they're not going to be surprised, but anyone that's watching this is going to be like, real, again, kind of like with Casper, like, of all the movies, that was your favorite from 98. Bride of Chucky. I'm a Chucky fan. I love Chucky. However, most of the other years that his movies come out, there are just better movies. But not 98. And Bride of Chucky is, in my opinion, the best of the 7 movies that have come out. Just, you know, it's at the height of, meta horror thanks to Scream. I think it does a lot better than Scream because it's not pointing out the stuff to the audience quite as much. It's kind of just ribbing on it a little bit. Brad Dourif and Jennifer Tilly are just having a complete gas in both the title role and as Chucky. You know, the supporting cast of humans is kind of meh. I mean, even by horror movie standards, they're not so great. But they get the job done. John Ritter as the evil cop dad. He's pretty good, but yeah, I mean, the stars of the show are Chucky and Tiffany, hands down. and the effects on them are probably the best out of any of the movies. The only effects that are better, honestly, are in the current Chucky TV show on the puppets. You know, but in the movies, nah, they don't get better than in Bride. So yeah, favorite movie from '98, Bride of Chucky. All right, another heavy hitter year. You know, '99. There's quite the plethora of great films to choose from, but I go with The Matrix for, well, come on, obvious reasons. You know, it's a landmark film. It's fantastic. The effects changed everything. The story's fantastic. The cast is great. The action scenes are amazing, and they're still thrilling to watch to this day. Great score. Just again, mwah, chef's kiss. It's a damn near perfect film. It's great. You know, I'm one of those people that enjoys the whole Matrix series. You know, definitely a lot more than most people, but yeah, the first one's still the best by far, no question. So yeah, moving on to 2000, Emperor's New Groove. 2000 is kind of a meh year, honestly. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's like a lot of good movies in that year, but for me, Emperor's New Groove, I laughed my ass off watching that movie in theaters. I've come back to it time and time again, and it's still crazy funny. Your central cast of Goodman, Spade, Eartha Kitt, rest in peace, and crap, I the name just lost it. Shit. See, now I'm gonna look it up because I'm not gonna be like that. Patrick Warburton. I can't believe I forgot Patrick Warburton. But yeah, Patrick Warburton. Yeah, that whole cast is fantastic. So, you know, it's insane to think that that was going to be a more dramatic, typical Disney movie, and they had to scrap that idea, and this is what they came up with the cadaver that was left, and probably better for it. So yeah, hilarious movie again. Kind of one of those with Aladdin. What if Disney decided to just make a Looney Tunes style movie instead? This is what happens, and it's great. 2001, Spirited Away. Again, one of those movies that you kind of go, everyone said a bazillion things about it, how amazing it is, how great it is, and I'm going to add to it, because it's a great movie. It's a landmark flick. It opened the door to anime for a lot of people that didn't think that would be their bag. Because, well, up until that point, anime was either, blood, sex, and violence, stuff, which that's not a bad thing, but that's just the way they're advertised. Or if it was, the stuff on Toonami, which was mostly action stuff. And then here's Spirited Away. I mean, we'd gotten to Totoro and, Kiki's Delivery Service at least, in a very serious way before here in the States. But Spirited Away is, like, if you weren't there, you don't know how hard Disney pushed that movie. Because Disney is what the company that brought it over here. They pushed Spirited Away pretty hard. They promoted it pretty heavy. And, it won the second ever Best Animated Film Oscar, rightfully so. So, no, Spirited Away is a transformative flick. It's, It's a gut-wrenching flick. It's very emotional. It's incredibly well animated. You know, pardon me. Um, I've never watched it in its original Japanese, but the dub is great. You know, um, yeah, it's. I mean, what needs to be said? It's a landmark film. It's one of the greatest ever. So moving on. 2002. This was a bit of a hard year for me to pick, but I I wanted to diversify a little bit and not, from some other stuff that I knew I was gonna pick later on. But I went ahead and went with Lilo and Stitch. I watched that movie countless times. It's fantastic. It looks different from anything that's ever been made in any movie. Nothing else looks like it. It's it's strange. It's weird. It's off kilter. You know, without being like you abstract. But it's a quirky, weird movie with a great big heart and all that jazz. I mean, Stitch is a fantastic character. Just in both in design and all that. Um, pardon me. Lilo is well written. The relationship between her and Nani is great. You know, Cobra Bubbles is a character, literally. I mean, it's a fantastic flick. It's great to look at. I should probably revisit it again here soon because it's just a great movie. So yeah, best film of 2002 for me was Lilo and Stitch. Uh, 2003, I had to get the man in there somewhere, and thankfully 2003 gave me the opportunity. Kill Bill. I Kill Bill Volume 1 specifically is my favorite Tarantino movie. Hands down, bar none. Now, I would argue that some one or two other movies of his are technically better movies. They're better written or better acted, whatever. But pound for pound, Kill Bill Volume 1 is my favorite of his movies. It's just great music, great vibe. Just I love it to death. Volume 2 is good, but I don't know. Volume 1 does it for me a bit more. I mean, I know it's one giant movie, but, you know, Volume Two's got more of a Western vibe to it, and I mean the genre of movie Western, not Western cinema. And I kind of prefer the more martial arts, kung fu, you know, Hong Kong and Japanese influence of Volume One. So yeah, just it just feels more slick and interesting, you know, to me. Um, Moving on to 2004, Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2. It's arguably still it's it's arguably still the best comic book movie ever made. It's just so goddamn good. We've already set up the characters, so now we can just let loose and let Spider-Man be Spider-Man. Tell just a great Spider-Man story. Alfred Molina is amazing as Doc Ock. You know, uh, the effects they got better from the first film for sure. They hold up a lot better now. Um, just it's, I mean, everyone said their piece on Spider-Man 2 because it's so good. Let me scroll down here on my list a bit so that way I don't have to do it later. Alright, there we go. So, yeah, no, Spider-Man 2. It's just goddamn great. Rosemary Harris is the freaking heart of that movie. I love the whole hero speech in the backyard. It's so good. You know, um, Q Franco. So good. Hey, Spider-Man 3 may not be the best, but it's got some pretty good moments. So, yeah, no, Spider-Man 2. 2005. Man, I cannot begin to tell you when I was looking at the list of movies from 2005 how much of a dearth of, at least for me, good movies were in 2005. So that's why my favorite film from 2005 is going to come across a little odd. Peter Jackson's King Kong. I like that movie. It's it's bloated. Not gonna lie, it takes too long for it to get where it's going. But once it gets to Skull Island, it's a roller coaster ride from pretty much therein. It don't stop for nobody. But man, that first 30, 40 minutes, get on with it. I know they're setting up the story and everything, but yikes, the pacing is really horrendous. Just damn. But the monsters are all great. That fight scene between Kong trying to save is it Anne? I forget her name, but the not Faye Dunaway character, you know, um, against those three uh, T- they're T-Rexes. They can call them V-Rex all they want. They're T-Rexes. Great. It's so well done, so well paced. It's very intense. Um, you know, yeah, the stampede scene's pretty hokey looking. It shouldn't look that hokey. There's no need for it to be, but it is. Um, again, watching the extended cut because gotta have the bug pit scene. The bug pit scene is so wrong on so many levels, but I love it. But yeah, no, King Kong loves it. Speaking of barren years, goddamn you, 2006. Why do you have to be so terrible? You wanna know how bad 2006 is for me? My favorite film of 2006 is Monster House. Now, I'm not trying to crap on Monster House. It's a great film, but 2006 was a bad year, man. When Monster House is my favorite movie of the year. But that said, it's. I mean, maybe Beowulf's. I'd say Beowulf is better as far as all those motion capture films that Zemeckis helped make during during that time period. But unlike Monster House, Beowulf actually came out in a year where there were better movies. But Monster House is still a ton of fun. The motion capture isn't nearly as weird or janky looking as it is in some of the other films. It's definitely a step up from Polar Express. That's for damn sure. But it's not quite as unnecessary roller coastery like it is in Christmas Carol. Like I said, Beowulf is probably the best of those movies that they came out with, but uh, yeah, Monster House is a ton of fun. I mean, it's a great kid-appropriate horror film, which I'm always down for those. I like horror movies in general, but it's nice to be able to have one that you can, show the little ones and they can have a nice little scare and all that, and not be necessarily scarred for life. But I mean, it still works on its own. I mean, anyone can watch it and have a good time with it. I think, as long as you're in the right mindset. All right. 2007 is where I kind of break my rule a little bit about movies. The movie I've seen the most over the years is the one that I picked. This is the year where I actually picked something that seriously impacted my entire worldview. I haven't watched this movie in a good long time, and I should probably remedy that here soon. My favorite film of 2007 is Persepolis. Let me set up the framing for this. Hold on. Alright, just make sure that I'm still recording. Keep in mind this is at the height of, well, maybe not the height, but we're still in the midst of the war on terror. Younger me hasn't really thought about even bothering to educate himself on the, the other side of the coin, as it were, from my side, the American side. You know, it was just, gotta get those damn dirty terrorists that attacked us. You know, I know that's wrong. That's the wrong thing to say, but again, that's what they had to shoot at the time. You know, but I had my ear to the ground, and I'm an animation fan, and I had heard about this film Persepolis. I was like, this looks pretty cool. This looks different. Young Michael's brain went galaxy with this movie. It opened my mind to the other side of the equation. It's like they're people too, dude. You know, they're going through the same troubles that everyone goes through. Just the culture's a little different, but it's still that music's bad for you. It goes against tradition. Why are you into it? Growing pains are growing pains. Going through teenagehood into adulthood is still stressful no matter where you're from. It, like I said, it's a very personal film, and a very personally, I'm getting a little misty-eyed about it just thinking about it. But it's a film that severely impacted me. So, yeah, I there's other films that I've seen from that year that I've watched more, but nothing impacted me more than that film that year. And like I said, it's still a seminal film for me. I still remember it very fondly. So, yeah, it was the obvious choice. Moving on to 2008. A lot of hard year. A lot of big picks. But a lot of people pick The Dark Knight, and they'd be right to pick it because it's a damn good movie. Some people would probably pick Iron Man. He's, again, damn good movie. Started the MCU on a pretty good foot. But not me. No. One of my favorite movies of all time is from 2008, and it came out 1 week after Iron Man, and that's Speed Racer. I adore Speed Racer. I don't care for the original anime series, but the movie, it's so earnest about itself. It's, yeah. The cast is fantastic all around. You can't ever go wrong with John Goodman. That's just scientific fact. I cannot think of a movie that John Goodman's been in where he sucked. Maybe the movie sucked overall, but he didn't suck. This isn't one of those cases. The movie rocks pretty much all around. I don't mind the swift changes in tone. I do kind of wish they didn't do it right in the middle of that big dramatic scene with Royalton and Speed, but other than that, yeah, it's insanely pretty. It's an insanely pretty film. The action scenes are fantastic. It's just the right level of cheesy. What else can you say, man? It's a fantastic film. I love it to death. And that that final race, I get goosebumps watching it every time. It makes my heart pace. I get goosebumps when I watch it. It might be one of Michael Giacchino's best scores. Just everything about that final race is so pure cinema. Just I love that movie. It's so good. It's one of my favorite films. 2009 was a kind of a hard year because I almost just instinctively picked Up, and I don't think anyone would blame me for picking that because it's a fantastic film. But I stuck with my guns. I picked the film I've watched more than Up from that year. That's also excellent. Coraline. Coraline is a tour de force. It's insanely well animated. It's creepy as hell. It's Do you know what the fun thing about Coraline is? You put that movie in front of its target audience, they love it. They think it's fantastic. Almost every time. You put that in front of their parents or most adults, they read the subtext and they are creeped the hell out. They're like, this is not a kid's flick. It's like, yeah, it is. Kids love it. But it's just hilarious to see how that works, how that happens pretty much every time. But, I mean, it was Leica's first film where they were advertised as this is a Leica movie, you know. Technically their first film was Corpse Bride, but they kind of more just helped animate it. You know, they kind of got, you know, yeah, it's like a sub production thing, you know. But this was their first, like, you know, from Studio Leica, you know. Um, it's Henry Selick's best film. That at least I've seen. I haven't seen. Was it Wendell and Wild? I haven't seen that yet, but you know, it's definitely better than Monkey Bone. I like Monkey Bone, but it's not for everybody, and it's definitely better than Nightmare Before Christmas. And that's saying some movies. That movie's a classic too. Um, but yeah, Coraline's just a great horror film, and yet a kids film. It's fantastic. I love it. Moving on, 2010. I was having a hard time with this year, and then I was like, oh yeah, Scott Pilgrim came out in 2010. Boom, done. Yeah, Scott Pilgrim is a fantastic film. Great music, funny as all hell. It's definitely a movie of its time. You know, I I'm curious if it clicks with younger people than me and people my age. I think it does. Maybe, I don't know. It definitely doesn't click that well with older people. That's for sure. I've seen that firsthand. But that movie is insanely funny. Great action, really good music, just the right level of nerdiness. Like, it's not too nerdy that, you know, it's off-putting for most people, I guess. Um, I I mean, the only thing that I guess would really make it distracting is the fact that Scott's a horrible person, and yet he's the main character. I mean, he gets better by the end, but still, fantastic film, one of the best. I I'm looking forward to the upcoming anime. So yeah, no, Scott Pilgrim, favorite film from 2010. 2011. I was not expecting 2011 to be such a bastard year to try and pick my favorite movie from. There's a lot of really good movies from 2011. I could have picked Rango. I could have. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna entertain Thor because I didn't care for Thor back when it came out that much, and I don't care for it that much now. Thor one is Thor's a bore. Thor 2 was worse, but sorry, Thor. The first Thor movie's a bore. It's kind of a chore to watch. It's a bore and a chore. Thor. Um, I'm trying to make sure I remember this one right. Rise. Rise of the Planet of the Apes came out that year. Damn good movie. I enjoy that movie a lot. Uh, you know, Rango came out that year. Rango's fantastic. But the movie I've rewatched more than any of them from that year, and it's fantastic. Captain America. Captain America is great. It's super pulpy. It's, just a good old fashioned, pulp adventure movie. Tommy Lee Jones is crazy sarcastic in it. Chris Evans is amazing in it. Um, Hugo Weaving's not so good, but he's not terrible. He's just, I don't know. He could have brought his A game, but he decided to bring his B game. His B game's still really good, but he's not the best in that flick. But he's doing good enough, so it's fine. But no, Captain America's great. I love that movie. 2012, Tarantino returns. Django Unchained. Kill Bill's my favorite of his movies. Django Unchained is a movie that I argue is his best. And the reason I say that is because I know a few people, at least, that don't typically care for westerns or Tarantino's style, but they watched Django Unchained and were like, this movie rules. This is a really great flick. But I mean, Jamie Foxx is fantastic in it. Christoph Waltz, again, fantastic. DiCaprio, as usual, fantastic. It's nice to see DiCaprio being able to play a role that's not so serious. He gets to chew it up, and he's fantastic. Samuel L. Jackson, as always, again, fantastic. Just cast from top to bottom is great. It's got a great story. It's got a lot of style. Just, again, great flick. Love that movie. I should revisit it again soon. Alright, 2013. The Conjuring. Again, kind of bending my rule here. I haven't watched The Conjuring maybe as much as other films from 2013, but like with Persepolis, it left an impact. It left a real serious impact. I mean, here's a film that got an R rating because it's scary. Not really any gore, not really all that much blood. There's a little bit, but not much. No foul language, no nudity, none of that. No. Rated R purely because it's terrifying. And when I found that out, back when the movie first came out, I was like, I gotta check this movie out, because that's gonna be a scary goddamn movie to get an R rating just based off being scary. It met the hype. I wasn't stricken with fear and hiding under the covers, because I'm a jaded horror fan, but it got under my skin. It left its mark. It's a damn well-made, scary as hell movie. Kind of hate the fact that it made the paranormal, the Warrens, painted them as more than what the actual Warrens are. The actual Warrens are frauds. So just remember that. But yeah, scary ass movie. It's incredibly well done. James Wan is one of the best best directors working out there today, and even stuff like that, and Insidious, and Malignant. Yes, Malignant. I almost picked that for later on in the list, but there was just other movies that took priority. But trust me, that's a great one too. But yeah, James Wan's fantastic. Moving on. 2014, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Why? Because it's the best of the Caesar trilogy, and almost all of it has to do with the fact that I almost say Cobra, Koba is one of the best villains ever. He's despicable. He's horrible. You understand why he is the way he is. That doesn't excuse the fact that he excuse his actions. He's the worst, and it's so much fun watching him do his thing on screen. And I mean, yeah, Andy Serkis is fantastic, as always, because he's Andy Serkis. The movie's great. You know, as always, it's an apes movie, so there's some sort of commentary, but it's just a really great sci-fi drama flick. You know, if you miss the social commentary that's being left, honestly, I mean, that adds to it, sure, but you're not necessarily losing anything either. It's still a great film without that. Um, Pardon me. The action scenes are pretty fantastic, but yeah, honestly, a lot of me picking it comes down to just the fact that Koba is such a amazing, god awful villain. Moving on, 2015, Mad Max Fury Road. It was honestly 2015 was really easy to pick because again, kind of slim pickings as far as I'm concerned. But in the midst of it, there was Fury Road, and god damn, god damn. Again, this is cinema. What a movie. You know, it's like, how do you make a feature-length car chase and keep it enthralling the whole time? George Miller found a way. The stunts are incredible. It looks amazing. The coloring in it, like on the contrast and all that, is just eye popping. The score is fantastic. You know, uh, uh, Hardy and uh, Theron. I was like not Tilda Swinton, Charlize Theron. They're both fantastic. Morton Joe is again a great villain. It's just not to put too fine a point on it. It's a pedal to metal ball breaker movie. It's great. Crazy rewatchable. So yeah, no. Fury Road, fantastic. Speaking of slim picking years, 2016, my favorite movie from 2016 is Kung Fu Panda 3. I would have picked Kung Fu Panda 2 for its year, but I believe that came out in 2011. So again, I picked Captain America over that. So Kung Fu Panda 2 is probably the best of the trilogy, but for 2016, Kung Fu Panda 3 was the best movie for me that year. It's a pretty solid conclusion to the trilogy, even if it is the weakest of the three movies, honestly. But I mean, J.K. Simmons as Kai is a pretty solid villain. Again, he's not Ty Long, he's not Gary Oldman Peacock. I can forget the character's name, but it's still a pretty fun flick. Bryan Cranston as Poe's dad is a lot of fun, and it wraps everything up at a pretty nice bow. I know they've made a bunch of TV shows that take place afterward and everything, and that's fine. But as far as the movies are concerned, until the fourth one comes out, whenever it does, because I know they're making that as of this recording, but it was a nice send off. It's got some pretty good fight scenes. The big finale between uh, Kai and Poe is pretty fantastic. I enjoy it a lot. So, moving on to 2017, I'm not even gonna dance around this one. Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It's not even a question. Nothing else came close. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is superb. It's some masterclass stuff. Um, Again, at the time of I'm recording this I've Guardians 3 has just came out, and I watched all the Guardian movies, where they were a major part. So the two Guardian movies and the last two Avengers movies. Going in to see the third, and man, I felt this way after I saw it, and I still feel this way. Rocket's subplot in Guardians 2 is so good. I mean, pretty much the whole plot all around is good, but I really attached to Rocket's subplot. It you know it moved me, to say the least. You know, but yeah, I mean the ending, with what happens at the ending. I'm not gonna spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, but the ending is magical. Just I'm getting a little choked up just thinking about it. Just so good. All right, this is another weird pick. This is something I don't think a lot of people would pick for 2018, but it's my favorite movie from 2018. Dragon Ball Super Broly. Why? It's a simple movie. It is literally a 2-act movie. Not even a 3-act movie. It's a 2-act movie. Hour 1, it's a 2-hour movie. Hour 1, setup. Give you the most at least of the backstory of all our major players. So Frieza, Goku, Vegeta, and Broly. Here's their backstory. Why they're why they have issue with each other for the most part, and how they meet each other to have conflict. Act 2 is literally just one long fight scene with people switching in and out fighting Broly. And oh my god. It is one of the most masterful movies of its type I think I've ever seen. The animation is some of the best I've ever seen. It's insanely good. But for the type of movie that it is, because it's a martial arts movie, it's a fight movie. For what it's trying to achieve, it checks every single box and executes on it to perfection. The fights are very well choreographed. It's very well animated. The music freaking slaps. It's got some funny moments in it because it's Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball should have funny moments in it. Sorry for all you hardcore Z only fans, but Dragon Ball always has had a sense of humor. It's a childish sense of humor, but it's there. Uh, you know, it's again, it's pretty damn near flawless in its execution on what it's trying to do. I mean, it's to the point that they almost kind of set it up like it's a boxing match or a wrestling match. You know, you listen to the score, and not only do you have what basically is an announcer announcing the fighters as they join, as they start up a fight. You know, Kakarata, Broly. But there's parts of the score where there's what's basically the crowd chanting, go Broly, go Broly, Gogeta, Gogeta. It is hype personified. But again, it's so effective at what it sets out to do. I, I, I can't praise it, any higher than that. You know, like I said, are there better films as far as like artistic merit, better acting, yada yada, that came out in 2018? Oh yeah, definitely. But Broly left a huge impact on me, and like I said, it perfectly executed on every last thing it meant to do. You can't ask a movie to do more. You can't. So yeah, favorite movie of 2018, Dragon Ball Super Broly. 2019, again, this was kind of a slim pickings year, and I almost picked Batman vs. Ninja Turtles for similar reasons that I picked Super Broly. It executed what it set out to do. Here's a movie where Batman and the Ninja Turtles cross over with each other, and we're pretty much going to tick every last box of what you expect to see in that. You want to see Batman fight the Shredder? Check. Twice over. You want to see what some of Batman's rogues gallery would look like if they got mutated? Oh, giant check. Huge check on that one. How are the turtles gonna bounce off Batman? You get to see that in spades. So I almost picked that, but my rule that I set up, that I explained earlier about movies that I've seen more since then, kind of overrid it. I've only seen Batman vs. Ninja Turtles a couple times since it came out. However, I've seen Avengers Endgame quite a few times since it came out. And how do I put this? It's not that Endgame is a bad movie throughout. It's a good movie throughout, but it is definitely a film of moments. There are moments that stick out. Tony talking to his dad in the past. That's a moment that sticks out. Same part of the movie, Cap seeing Agent Carter, in the past. That sticks out. But the scene that just is, this is what everything's been building up to. This is the moment. The portal scene. The music. The setup for it. Seeing, I'll just say, literally every hero we've seen up until this point come to Cap's side to fight off Thanos. The music builds, it crescendos. It's I'm gonna say it now, it's Alan Silvestri's magnum opus as far as scores go. It's the best thing he's ever made. It's so good. Again, that's not to say the rest of the movie's bad by any means. It's just, again, it's a movie of moments, and everything in between is fine. It's not horrible. It's not grand. But those big moments like that just put it on another level. So, again, it was close between that and Batman vs. Ninja Turtles for me, but we gotta give it to Endgame. Pardon me. 2020. Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge. I know there's a lot of people out there that have not seen this movie. Y'all need to rectify that right now. This movie freaking kicks ass. That live action movie that came out a year later in 2021, screw that movie. That movie sucks. Especially when you compare it to Scorpion's Revenge. Came out a year earlier. It's from Warner Bros. Animation and went direct to video. and it was going to do that anyways. This has nothing to do with COVID. You know, it was never going to come out in theaters, but this is the Mortal Kombat movie that everyone's waiting to see. You know, the fights are great. It's gory as all hell. You saw that live action movie that came out in 2021 was gory. You ain't seen nothing. It puts it to shame. There's horror movies that are less gory. You know, which it's Mortal Kombat. It should be gory. It should be a bloody mess. You know, it's. You know, like I said, the choreography is really good. The cast is great. You know, they're all doing doing their thing. I really enjoy Patrick Stewart as Scorpion. You know, pardon me, but yeah, no, it freaking kicks ass. It's just it's so good. I I can't think of words to describe just how freaking amazing it is. You know, but y'all need to go check it out, rectify that situation. It's on Max, I'm pretty sure. You know, but if not, spend a couple bucks. Go rent it off of Vudu or Apple or whatever your favorite digital media store is. Go watch this freaking movie. You will not be disappointed, I swear. You know, I mean, unless you just don't like Mortal Kombat or martial arts films, but in which case, why would you care about this movie anyways? But if that's your inclination, you're in for a treat. It's bloody, and I mean bloody, fantastic. Just, so good. 2021. This is where the fanboy in me is gonna come out really hard. Ghostbusters Afterlife. Been waiting for pretty much my whole life for them to finally make a third Ghostbusters movie that follows after Ghostbusters 2. I'm not one of those guys that goes, 2016 is awful, stupid, but no. The movie's fine. It's not great, but it's fine. But it wasn't like most people, wasn't what I wanted out of another Ghostbusters movie, necessarily. Afterlife was. I hate the fact that it's basically Goonies meets the Ghostbusters because I don't really care for the Goonies. But that's what it is, and it freaking works. You know, all the actors are really good. You know, they're pretty funny. Yeah, one of the characters is named Podcast, and that's a little cringy. I'm not gonna sit and pretend it isn't, but I mean, it describes who he is. And he's funny. I like Podcast. I think he's a really humorous and charming character. You know, when it needs to be scary, it's scary. There's some really great practical effects in it. Pardon me. They obviously switched to CGI for the proton streams at this point, but they look fantastic. You know, just the whole film's just so good. You know, I mean, who would have thought that taking the tongue tied, that taking the emblem approach to something like Ghostbusters would work so well, but it did. I mean, in retrospect, it makes sense. I mean, a lot of people like myself grew up on the cartoon before even seeing the movie, and even then, before the cartoon came out, a lot of the fan base for the movie was young kids. You know, that like we're gonna see a naughty movie. A movie that maybe we shouldn't actually be seeing because it's got some stuff in it we normally wouldn't get to see. But it also has just captured people's imagination. And they kept the fan service to a minimum. There's some references that probably made, and there's like, really, the Twinkie in the glove box, that wasn't necessary. But, it isn't too bad with the fan service. There's enough, to, make the hardcore, fans out there just go, yee. But, the the heart of the story is still really, really, really good. Um, Pardon me. And I'm looking forward to the sequel when it comes out. You know. Uh, yeah, no, fantastic movie. Love that movie. And that brings us up to 2022. 2022 had a lot of contenders, and I do mean a lot of contenders for, uh, you know, my favorite movie of the year. Um, you know, I'm racking my brain trying to think of some of them now. Multiverse of Madness was pretty good. Um, the Rise of the TMNT movie was really, really good. Um, uh, Dragon Ball Super Heroes was damn good, but gotta give it up for the movie that legitimately surprised me, surprised a lot of people. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish came out of freaking nowhere. You know, it's like they made a sequel to Puss in Boots, really? I mean, okay, the animation looks pretty good, and then you go see the movie and it's like, whoa, the animation isn't just good; it's phenomenal. The character arc is great. The comedy is on point. The villains are amazing. You know, the some of the best villains that we've seen in any movie in quite some time, but especially these types of movies, these family friendly affairs where anymore it's generational trauma is the villain, or the villain has some sort of redemptive backstory or whatever. Nah, I mean, okay, Goldilocks and Three Bears are kind of redemptive, but you know, but Death and Jack Horner, nah, man, they're stone cold villains, and it's great. It's nice to see villains that are just freaking evil again. You know, um, but I mean, Puss has a great character arc. His new model is a huge improvement over his older one. Just the whole film, from beginning to end, just kicks ass. You know, I I have a verbal take. I say stuff like a lot, so pardon me. Yeah, no, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Who would have thought? You know that it'd be my favorite film of last year. Go figure. So yeah, that's my list from 86 to 2022. Um, I guess I go ahead and throw what my favorite film thus far of 2023 is. Um, it, it's Guardians 3. Everyone's been raving about it, and for good reason, because it's just goddamn great. James Gunn went out on a high note. Um, but um, Renfield was fantastic. Megan was really good. Uh, Creed 3 was pretty good. The Mario movie was entertaining. And, it's been a good year thus far, but nah. I mean, I hate to say that the latest is the greatest, but it's true. Guardians 3 is just super fantastic. I hope that I see something better this year. You know, I mean, if Guardians 3 ends up being the best of the year, I mean, that's fine, but, you know, I'm hoping some other stuff that's supposed to come out this year ends up dethroning it. You know, just because I'd be a little sad if that was, the, you know, runaway best film of the year. But, so yeah, that's the list. You know, like, like and share. I would say subscribe, but I don't upload very much. So, you know, subscribe if you want to, I suppose. Um, Maybe I'll try to do more, resurrect zero effort. Maybe, I don't know. Um, yeah, make your own lists like this if you want. Spread it around. Let's get this trend viral. You know, and all that jazz. That that's it. That's all I got. Why are you still here? I would say go home, but you're probably watching this at home, so bye.